like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me, I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats, circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready? Who ready? We ready? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? Who ready? Who? We ready? Who? Who ready? We ready. Been ready. I waited. My turn. On God. Hell steady.
Hey everyone, it's Steve from Sneaker Tech Talk, back with another video today. For today's video, we will be taking a look at the performance review of the Kobe 9 Elite Low in the Moonwalker colorway. So without further ado, let's take a look at this shoe. All right, so on my channel, I have already reviewed the Kobe 9 Elite Highs and the Kobe 9 Lows engineered mesh. Now it is time to do the performance review on this model right here. Now obviously a lot of features and just tech and things within the shoe share everything that the other shoes do have, but there are some things that I do like about these shoes better in general. But you know, this colorway, I'm very happy it's back. The Moonwalker colorway was one of my favorites back in the day. I never had a chance to grab these when they came out. When the Kobe 9s came out, I believe in 2013 or 14, I was still in college. I was still in engineering, and I had no chance of picking any of them up. I was a broke college student. You know, I was playing a ton of basketball, studying, and getting ready to get married at that time. But I am happy that they are back. It is a breath of fresh air to see some OG colorways of the Kobe 9 Elite Lows back in stores. But as always, starting with the traction pattern on this model right here, you do have the pressure mapping of the foot at the bottom of this shoe. And these perform just as amazing as they did 10 plus years ago. I really enjoy this setup. On clean floors, these are like a 10 out of 10. They grip the floor amazing while they last. Keep in mind, some of these grooves eventually flake off, and that's just the nature of having some really thin and pretty soft rubber compound at the bottom of the shoe. But while this rubber is on the bottom, it is amazing on court. Now, as far as dirty floors go, you will have to wipe, specifically because this is a translucent outsole, so these do pick up quite a bit of dust, but with a quick wipe, you will be back to elite traction on the Kobe 9 Elite Lows. I really enjoy this setup. I would stray away from bringing these outdoors. I think the retail price point for these were like 200 or 210 USD, 270 here in Canada. So these would burn through really quickly outdoors, but as far as indoors go, as long as you're wiping, these are elite. I really enjoyed this traction pattern. Again, I've spent around 12 hours in this pair so far, and it's really enjoyable on foot as far as the traction goes. All of my movements were good to go with this setup. I know they said they updated this traction pattern, and I think they added like one line right here on the medial side. It's not really updated. It's more or less what we got back in the day, but it's still elite, and that's why it's going to score a really solid 9 out of 10. Now, as far as the cushioning goes, these do have a drop-in midsole setup. This black stuff here on the side of the shoe is just a plastic kind of midfoot, not shank plate, but wrap right here. And on the back, it has that external heel counter right here. So there's really no cushion on the outside of this shoe. Now, the OGs did have a Lunar Lawn drop-in midsole. They did break down pretty quickly, but while they lasted, they were really nice underfoot. Now, the Protros do have an updated setup. It is a React drop-in midsole. They do have some grippies at the top of the drop-in midsole. You know, this is really firm to start out. Once the shoe warms up, it does become a lot softer, but it's just nothing special. You get a decent amount of impact protection at the back of the shoe. It's really close to the floor up front, and other than this right here, there's nothing else in the shoe that is going to be offering impact protection or anything. For the price point of these shoes, I would really like to see a Zoom Strobel setup or Zoom Air infused in this drop-in midsole like we used to see in some of the elite Kobes back in the day, but we're not getting that. We're just getting this slab of React foam. Again, while this lasts, you get a decent amount of impact protection, but it's really nothing special underfoot. You know, it's similar to the Lunar Lawn, but I find it to be a little more firm, not quite as squishy. For me, being in my mid to late 30s, I'm 37 now. This just, for me, it doesn't cut it underfoot for like a 2 or 3 hour session. I definitely need something a bit more. I'm sure the younger generation won't mind because they probably didn't even play in the Lunar Lawn or the Lunar Lawn and Zoom combo setups from back in the day. And this just might be enough for you, but it's not enough for me. And for the price point, I don't think it's enough either. So for me, this cushioning setup is gonna get a 7 out of 10. Now, as far as the fit goes, with the high tops, I did go with a 10.5 because there is a lot less padding at the back of the shoe. It's a lot more thin on the high elites. On the lows, because of the padding, I opted to go for a US size 11, and I am happy I did because my toe is right near the end of the shoe, like almost touching the end of the shoe right here. So I'm typically a 10.5 or 11. In the engineered mesh version, I am an 11. These I'm an 11, and the high tops with the less padding at the back, I am a 10.5. Keep in mind, you do have a ton of padding back here. The tongue is very padded and gusseted. The tongue is pretty high as well. I don't remember if the low tops back in the day had such a high tongue, but overall, the fit is rather nice. It's way better on these and the high elites versus the engineered mesh. The engineered mesh just fit terribly on your foot. This Flyknit definitely fits a lot nicer around your foot. It breaks in pretty quickly. It's pretty soft, and I actually don't mind the overall fit of the elite lows with the Flyknit on this model right here. Overall, it was a pretty enjoyable setup on foot, and that's why the fit on this shoe is going to score an 8 out of 10. Now, as far as the materials go, it's basically the same thing that we got back in the day. It is a Flyknit upper here. There is a ton of glue and backing underneath the Flyknit to act as a reinforcement. So it's really nothing groundbreaking for the Protro. It's more or less like the OGs, but it is comfortable on foot and it does break in really quickly. This upper is very malleable on foot. The tongue does have a ton of breathability wrapping up the tongue, and then a synthetic material sitting at the top. It looks like you have some 3M hits around the back of the shoe, and those stitch marks at the back are 3M as well. And then you have a silver swoosh on the lateral and on the medial side of this shoe. So for the price point, it's really nothing groundbreaking or premium, but it's more or less what we've come to know with the Flyknit series of Kobe shoes on his 9th signature shoe. But sound off in the comments what you guys think of this upper. For me, I can't deny it. It is pretty comfortable. Not a ton of airflow all the way around the shoe. You mostly get that up the tongue, but overall, I did enjoy this setup, and that's why it's gonna score an 8.5 out of 10. Now, as far as the weight of this shoe, again, this is a US size 11, and these do come in at 14.6 and 14.4 ounces. So right around that 14.5 ounce mark. Nothing overly lightweight, but honestly, for my US size 11 in most of my basketball shoes, they're between 13 and 16 ounces. So these are definitely on the lower end of that. All things considered, this isn't really heavy. It's just a little bit clunky at the back of the shoe. One last thing I did want to mention about the cushion setup is all of the cushion is housed within the shoe, like I said. So it is a little bit clunky at the back because of the carbon and TPU plate right here, and there's no compression on the outside of the shoe. All the compression with the cushioning comes with inside of it. Now, as far as the support goes on this model, in my opinion, it is a pretty supportive basketball shoe, one of Kobe's most supportive shoes to date. So starting at the back of the shoe, you do have an internal TPU counter housed within the shoe, which is very sturdy and does a great job. And then below that, you have another heel counter that is plastic and carbon fiber on the medial and on the lateral side. And this plate runs down to the midfoot where there's another carbon plate right here and some more plastic. So on those hard lateral cuts. Your foot is seated, housed within this, and there is actually these fly wire cables running down to the strobel down each eyelet. So when you really crank these laces down, it wraps around your foot rather nicely. There is no shank plate in the bottom of this shoe, so it is pretty flexible, and the plate does run on the medial side right here underneath the arch. So all things considered, for me and my play style at 6'2" and around 220 pounds, I didn't have any issues with the shoe. It's pretty supportive. It's very fun to play in as far as a couple of the features, and the support just really gets the job done. One other thing I did want to mention is the rubber does wrap up near the pinky toe, so that kind of acts as a sidewall right here as well. The Flyknit is pretty durable and strong on all of your hard cuts. So overall, I did enjoy the support on the shoe, and that's why these are going to score a pretty solid 9 out of 10. So can I recommend the Kobe 9 Elite Low in the Moonwalker colorway or any other low top Kobe 9, specifically in the Flyknit Elite ones? I would say yes, if you can get over the fact that there is not a lot of cushioning within this shoe. For me, for when I'm gonna bring this shoe out and actually hoop in it is probably gonna be on shoot arounds or shorter game sessions. You know, if I'm playing a senior men's game or if I'm playing my 2-hour Sunday runs, I'll probably play in these for about an hour and then switch them out. But if you can get over the cushioning setup of the React, where it's just not really plush underfoot, this shoe does still have a lot to offer. Over 10 years later, some of these standout features are definitely that heat mapping of the foot traction pattern. The fit of the shoe is pretty nice. It's really secure and comfortable around your foot with the Flyknit. The materials are decently premium, but nothing special. And then the support of this shoe in general is great. So for a low top shoe, a Kobe shoe, you know, Kobe shoes are very nostalgic for a lot of people. I played in his shoes from his Adidas line all the way through up all of his Nike basketball shoes. So this is definitely really cool to see these come back here in 2025. But sound off in the comments, did you guys pick up a pair of the Kobe 9 Elite Low in the Moonwalker colorway? But I will say this about this shoe in general. This is more of a retro rather than a Protro. Kobe wanted his shoes to be a performance retro. They didn't want them to be the exact same as what they were. He wanted them to be upgraded. And honestly, these more or less are not upgraded. This is basically like 90% the same shoe that it was back in the day. The only real change is the foam compound on the drop in midsole with being React rather than Lunarlon. So I kind of am like, shame on Nike for saying this is a Protro, because it's just, there's not enough that has changed. You know, if they changed out the drop in midsole to be a Zoom X or React with Zoom combo or the full length Zoom strobel with a drop in React, then I would say you can get away with that updated Protro name. But as is, I just don't think this is worth the price and the Protro name attached to the Kobe 9 Elite Lows. But sound off in the comments, maybe I'm out to lunch. But that's gonna do it for today's video. As always, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, that would definitely help the channel a ton. And check out my Instagram over at Sneaker Tech Talk, as it is an extension of my YouTube channel with all my pickups, basketball footage, and nostalgia as a whole. As always, thanks for watching today's video, and until next time, peace.